Welcome friends, welcome to another video of Quick Biology. Today I am going to discuss about fertilization. Fertilization means the union or fusion of the two gametes, and the humans are the organisms which undergo internal fertilization. So the fertilization in human is internal. So there are different types of modifications are there in the ovum and sperm structures, and different types of enzymes are there which actually helps to ensure that only the same species of sperm and ovum can fuse with each other. So first we will look at the structure of ovum. So ovum, you can see a diagram of ovum, and this is not a true ovum because only before fertilization, when sperm has approached, then only the ovum will be produced. Otherwise it is the secondary oocyte which comes out during ovulation from the Graafian follicle. So during fertilization, the if we look at the structure of the ovum, it have different layers surrounding it. The outermost layer is the corona radiata or the corona layer. It have different types of cells which are connected with each other by hyaluronic acid and different types of heteropolysaccharides within them. And next layer is zona pellucida. So this layer is the zona layer or the zona pellucida layer. And pellucida means it is transparent like a layer which reflects light. So this is known as pellucid or zona pellucida. Next layer is the perivitelline space, and this is a minute space surrounding this red vitelline membrane. The vitelline membrane is actually the plasma membrane of oocyte. So the vitelline space and zona pellucida, between them the space is known as perivitelline space. Next, inside the red circle you can see this is the cytoplasm of ovum, and here the nuclear material is there. If you see oogenesis or study it in detail, you can see the nucleus will form the germinal vesicle. Germinal vesicle is produced inside the oocyte because it is a modified structure which undergo RNA synthesis during a large arrested period. So this is known as germinal vesicle. So this is the structure of ovum, and when sperm approaches towards the ovum after ejaculation, the process is known as insemination, the process by which through during coitus the sperm approaches inside the uterus and ultimately to the oviduct and fallopian tube, ultimately to the ampulla. The process by which it approaches this route is known as insemination. And there are 300 to 400 million sperm will ejaculate during with semen, and then it will reach the ampulla. From ampulla it will undergo a special process which is known as capacitation. Capacitation means activation of sperm. So sperm is partially inactivated when it is released from the male body, and it is activated by releasing some inhibitory factors. Calcium ions enter inside the sperm, and cholesterol is released from the sperm. So these three processes in unison is called capacitation. As a result of it, from undulating motion, the sperm will now form a whiplash motion. It will now undergo a whiplash motion, and it will reach faster towards the ampulla. So this process is known as capacitation. It occurs in the fallopian tube or in the uterus. Now, in the prostaglandin and oxytocin is released. Prostaglandin is released from sperm and oxytocin is released from the female uterus or female body during intercourse. As a result of it, intense contractions occur in the uterine muscles, and the sperm itself have flagella through which it can move towards the ampulla. So the contractions and the flagellary movement of sperm both helps in the transport of sperm towards the ampulla where the fertilization will occur. Now, when millions of sperms reaches towards the ovum, a single sperm will release sperm lysine and hyaluronidase like enzymes. So these are the lysine enzymes and hyaluronidase. It will destroy the outer layer. This coronal layer will be destroyed by the enzymes sperm lysine and hyaluronidase. So after corona radiata, when corona radiata is penetrated, the next layer will be the zona pellucida. The sperm head will bind at the ZP2 and ZP3 proteins at the surface of zona pellucida. So zona pellucida have different receptor-like structures, which is also known as zona pellucida protein 2 and 3. This type of receptors are there in the zona surface, and sperm head binds in these receptors, and a matching occurs. That is, if the sperm is of same or different species, the matching occurs here, and ZP2 and ZP3 proteins are responsible for it. Now acrosome reaction will happen. So acrosome reaction means inside the sperm, and if this is the sperm will touch the zona membrane. This is the sperm structure, and a bag-like structure is there at the frontal region of sperm, and this bag-like structure is known as acrosome. The enzymes are actually present in this acrosome region. The plasma membrane of sperm is now fused with the zonal layer of ovum, and the enzymes are released. These enzymes help to form the further different types of reactions. Now, the acrosome reaction means the acrosomal vesicles will fuse with the ovum membrane, destroy the zona layer, and further only the nucleus will enter towards the fertilized membrane. This is known as acrosome reaction. And the enzymes of sperm lysine and hyaluronidase, this type of enzymes are there inside the acrosome vesicle. Now, when the sperm head reaches up to the perivitelline space, a cone-like structure will form. It is known as fertilization cone. And this fertilization cone will accept the sperm nucleus, which is present behind the acrosomal vesicle. So behind the acrosomal vesicle, there is the sperm nucleus is there, and the sperm nucleus will enter inside the perivitelline space. At that time, the cortical reaction will happen. So next reaction is cortical reaction, and during cortical reaction, the calcium granules or the stored calcium ions will be released from the oocyte cortex. This region is the oocyte cortex. So from oocyte cortex, calcium ions are released at the zona layer. At the end, the ZP2 and ZP3 proteins are cut away because the function is already done. The sperm is attached with ovum. Now there is no need of these ZP2 and ZP3 receptors. So they are cut away. Primary depolarization or the polarity of the membrane is changed, which will repel the further attachment of sperm, and a membrane will be formed due to the release of calcium granules here. This whole process is known as cortical reaction. So cortical reactions have three functions. One, release of the cortical granules and calcium ions. Two, forming the membrane surrounding the ovum, and 3, entry of the sperm nucleus inside the female body. So these are known as cortical reaction. When cortical reaction is done, the sperm and ovum membrane actually touches with each other, and sperm nucleus or the male pronucleus enters inside the ovum. At that time, the female nucleus or the female nuclear material is now undergoing the meiosis II division, and second polar body will be released from the female body. So second polar body when released, now we can say it is the ovum. From oocyte it is matured into ovum, and now the male pronucleus is inside the female body. It is the male pronucleus, this is the female pronucleus, and they will undergo mixing with each other, which is known as anti-mixtis, and after that we can tell it is as a synkaryon. So nuclear material is now fused with each other, and they form the metaphase structures, like metaphase-like structure, and they will start divide. Now this is not an ovum. When two nucleus meet with each other, we can tell it as a zygote. So now zygote is formed. And now after the formation of zygote, the cleavage, morula, blastula, and different germ layers, these reactions will happen. We will talk about that later. So this is the whole procedure of fertilization. So we can divide it into four phases. At first, the reaching of the sperm towards the ovum, reactions of sperm and ovum, the acrosome reaction, cortical reaction, and the activation of ovum and formation of synkaryon. These are the different steps or phases of fertilization. If you like the video, share with friends, comment, subscribe my channel, and please hit the like button. Thank you.